Hello children, happy to see you again. I am a teacher Dakshayani handling biology from Bharathidhasanar Matric Higher Secondary School, Arakkonam. Children, today we are going to see 11th standard Botany, chapter 3, Vegetative Morphology. In this chapter, we are discussing about the vegetative parts of the plant such as root, stem and leaves. So, in the previous sessions, we have discussed about the roots and the modification of the roots and the types of the root. In this session, we are going to study about the stem. So, let us recap. In the previous session, we have discussed about the epiphytic roots, vanda, foliar roots, bryophyllum, hostorial roots or sucking roots, cuscuta and photosynthetic or assimilatory roots, ctenospora. And in this session, we are going to discuss about the shoot system. Right? What is the shoot system, children? Shoot system, that the part of the plant that lies above the ground, we say it as shoot system. Shoot system bears the leaves, flowers, fruits, right? And actually the shoot system develops from the plumule, right? On germination, you can see the radicle and the plumule. This is a radicle and this is a plumule, right. So, while you are discussing on the roots, we studied that the roots develops from the radicle. Likewise, the plumule develops into the shoot system. Plumule develop into the shoot system. The radicle develops into the root system and the plumule develops into the shoot system. And the main important characteristics of the shoot system is that they bear nodes and internodes. What do you mean by nodes and internodes? The point from which the leaf arises. For example, if this is a stem and the point from which the leaf arises, we say it as a nodes. We say it as nodes. We say it as nodes. And the space between the two nodes, we say it as internodes. For example, the space between the two nodes, we say it as internodes. So, the stem bears nodes and internodes. Now, we shall discuss about some of the characteristic features of the stem. The first one is that we all know that the stem, right, it is the aerial part of the plant and it arises from the meristems, right. From the apical meristems, the plant reaches the height. When through the repeated divisions of the apical meristem, the stem height grows on increasing. So, the first important characteristic feature of the stem is that it is aerial. What do you mean by aerial? They grow above the ground, right, and they are photosynthetic. Photosynthetic, they possess chlorophyll and they are green in color. They are green in color, right, and only young stem is green in color, right. So, when it is a plant, the stem will be green in color, but when the plant grows, what happens? The stem becomes brown in color and we call it as a bark, right, or a trunk of a tree. So, the young stem is green in color. Young stem is green in color. And another important characteristic is that it is positively phototrophic. What do you mean by positively phototrophic? They grow towards the direction of the light. For example, you can see if it is a plant, if this is a ground level and the stem grows towards the direction of the light and the roots towards the ground. So, you can say the stem, it is positively phototrophic and negatively geotrophic because it grows against the direction of the root. So, you can say the roots are the stem is positively phototrophic and negatively geotrophic. negatively geotrophic. So, the stem is positively phototrophic and negatively geotrophic. And the another important characteristics of the stem is that they bear nodes and internodes. Nodes and internodes. So, what is the nodes? The place from which the point from which the leaf arises, we say it as a node, and the space between the two nodes, we say it as the internodes. So, these are all the important characteristic features of the stem. So, let us discuss the functions of the stem. What is the main function of the stem, children? Yes, it provides support. From the stem only leaves, flowers, fruits, all the reproductive structures of the photosynthetic parts arise from the stem only. So, the main function of the stem is a support. The main function is a support. And another important function is that, for example, children, you can see the roots absorb water and minerals from the soil, and the stem transports water and minerals from the roots to all the parts. Only the stem transport the water and minerals to all the parts of the plant. So, transport of or conduction of water from root. So, this is another important function. And one more important function is that, what is the function of leaves, children? Photosynthesis, right? They prepare food for the plant. So, the food prepared by the leaves is carried by the stem and it reaches all the other parts of the plant. So, the stem is also responsible for the transport of food from leaves. So, what are the important functions of the stem? First one is support, second one is the transport of water and minerals from roots to all the parts of the plant, and another important function is the transport of food from leaves to all the parts of the plant. So, the main important function is the conduction. So, next we are going to discuss about the secondary functions. The first one is the storage. Some stem store their food, right? Store the food for the entire plant. Such stem we say it as storage stem. The example for storage is potato, right? This is potato and this is colocasia. So, the scientific name of potato is Solanum tuberosum. Solanum tuberosum. You can see the potatoes, it is buried inside the soil, right? But it is a modification of a stem. The stem is modified into a storage in function, that is potato. So, Solanum tuberosum. Another example for the storage is colocasia. Colocasia in Tamil we say it as Seppakazhangu, right? Colocasia. So, another important function, secondary functions of the stem is perenation. What is perenation, children? In Tamil we say it as padiyam podrathu, right? For example, you can see the ginger, right? You can see some buds on it. If you plant the ginger, from that a new plant arises. So, some stems also perform the function, some are helpful in perenation. The example for such stem is Gingiber officinale. Gingiber officinale, ginger. Gingiber officinale. It is the scientific name of ginger. Just underline Gingiber officinale and write ginger. And another example for perenation is Curcuma longa. Curcuma longa. What is the common name for Curcuma longa? Turmeric. Right? Manjal we say. Turmeric. It is an example for perenation. What are the two examples? Ginger and turmeric. So, some other important function of the stem, or some stem are responsible for water storage. Example, cactus and opuntia. Cactus and opuntia, right? You can see these are xerophytic plants and the leaves are modified into thorns. The green portion of this plant is the stem, and stem is responsible for the photosynthesis and they prepare food for the entire plant. So, and they also store the water, because these plants do not get water often, right? So, they have the capacity to store water in their stems. Best example is aloe vera, children. Katradi we say. What happens if you break the stem of the aloe vera? You can see more water. You can obtain more jelly like substances, right? So, some stem store water and some stem are buoyancy. What I mean by buoyancy? Buoyancy helpful in floating, right? You can see the stem of this plant. The name of this plant is Neptunia. Neptunia, right? It floats on water. This plant floats on water and it is mainly due to the buoyancy, that is a floating capacity of their stem. And next, some stem also perform the function of photosynthesis. You can see the stem, actually here this is the stem and leaves are reduced. Leaves are very minutely reduced, and such stem are responsible for photosynthesis. And here the leaves are absent or very less in number, and only the stem is responsible for preparing the food. Such stem we can say as photosynthetic, and the example for photosynthetic stem is Euphorbia thyricale. Euphorbia thyricale. And some other stem is responsible for protection. For example, in citrus or citrus varieties such as lemon, you can see the thorns. In the stem, you can see many thorns. So, it is responsible for the protection. So, some stems also perform the function to protect the plant. Example, citrus. And the another example, another important function is the support. Some plants, the stems are responsible for the support. What is this plant, children? Pirandai, we say in Tamil, right? And what is the scientific name of this? Cissus quadrangularis. Cissus quadrangularis. And you can see this is the stem of this, and this stem is responsible for the support, and the stem bears leaves at their nodes, and these stems are responsible for supporting the entire plant. And I will tell you one of the use of this Cissus quadrangularis, children. It is good for the bones. You can also say it as a bone joiner. So, let us recap. We have discussed about the stem and its characteristics. That is a characteristic feature of the shoot system. And then we have discussed about the primary functions. What is the primary function? Support, transport of food and water, right? Primary functions. And later on we discussed secondary functions. Secondary functions. In the secondary functions, we have discussed many examples, that is for support, photosynthesis, water storage, protection, right? So, with this session comes to an end, children. In the description, we have attached the study material, assessment and question bank for this lesson. Go through it. Thank you, children.